Hello, I'm Grin and welcome to this video. Well, it's October, and so the spooky season is officially in swing, and what better to do during Halloween than play some horror-themed games? And there's very few horror-themed games with quite so many demons and monsters than Doom 2016, which is the version of Doom that came out in 2016. I've played games in the Doom franchise for a pretty darn long time. In fact, I think the first-person shooter I ever played was probably Doom back on the old compy, but I didn't get around to playing Doom 2016 until just this year. Essentially, the trailer for Doom 2018 came out, I thought it looked incredible and realized I hadn't yet played Doom 2016, and then all of a sudden, it appears on Game Pass. So, essentially, the stars aligned and it was time to play some more Doom. Also, it should be noted that unfortunately Doom 2016 is not available on the compy to be ran through DOS, but instead is on the PC, PS4, Switch and Xbox One, which is what I'm playing it on right now for this review. And I've got to say, though it may be sacrilege, that Doom 2016 may well be the best installment in the Doom franchise, even better than the two originals. It is a fast-paced horror-action sci-fi game with brilliant graphics, incredible music, and some of the goriest demon-slaying action I've ever seen. However, my praise must come with a bit of a clause. While it is, I believe, the best game in the Doom franchise, it's definitely not the scariest. That, I think, I would have to award to Doom 3. It's kind of like the difference between Alien and Aliens. Doom 3 is somewhat of the Alien of the franchise. It's far slower paced and so is able to build more tension and a scarier atmosphere, so when something actually happens, it's far more frightening. However, Doom 2016 is far closer to Aliens, there's more monsters, it's more action-packed, and while arguably it might be funner, you don't really get scared by any appearance of a monster, as you've already been mowing down several thousand of them. Speaking of slaughtering numbers of demons, let's talk about the combat. And the combat in Doom 2016 is, I dare say, darn near perfect. The flow and action of this game is just non-stop excitement. It's a non-stop adrenaline rush, and for as long as the action continues, the game is a lot of fun. A lot of the enemies are slow moving, and if you get crowded by them you die easily, plus other enemies also do area damage attacks, so essentially if you stand in the one spot you get hoarded, and before you know it you're also standing in a pit of lava or acid, and so the game encourages you to pretty much never be idle. And helping with this is the glory kill feature of the game, which essentially is if you get your enemy on low health and then go up and basically melee them, it gives a cool kill animation, but also the dying enemy spews up health and extra ammo, which basically means that throughout the ongoing fight, the only way to heal yourself is by literally running into the thick of it and fighting your enemies toe-to-toe. There's no running and hiding in Doom 2016, because if you're low on health, you can only really remedy it by finding a big demon and punching it in the face. These kills are called glory kills. Essentially you can choose to trigger them when the enemy is low on health and flashing, and it causes a lot more gore. And also at the beginning of the game, I was a little bit worried that the glory kills would get old, in the same way that quick time events in almost every game they were used did, but fortunately in the case of Doom 2016, well, that never really became the case. I suppose the main difference is they take far less time, and they only require one button rather than multiple buttons timed, and they turned out a lot more like assassination kills in Halo, but actually worked even better than that. All of this combined with the upgrades and customization available to your weapons and armor, the combat in Doom 2016 is perhaps the closest I've seen to perfect in any game thus far. And then moving over to the realm of graphics, well, it certainly looks like you're in hell alright. This entire game feels like you're playing through a bunch of badass covers to a bunch of awesome metal albums, and that's kind of enforced further by the music, which is entirely slaying. The only downside to this is there's just sometimes too much red. I did find that after some extended play sessions, which the game really makes you end up doing because it's so fun, that my eyes began to hurt a little bit because I've been staring so long at all of this bright red. I mean, maybe put that on the game's cover, Doom 2016, the game that is so fun and awesome that your eyes are going to feel like they're going to bleed. But seriously, if you're playing it for over an hour, maybe stand up and walk around for a bit and stop looking at the screen for a while, because I think it definitely could probably cause a migraine. And while we're on the subject of negatives, sometimes, and I do mean only sometimes, it was very rare when it became an issue, but occasionally you run into a bit of level design or puzzle solving that becomes extremely annoying. The one that really frustrated me was on the level Foundry, where I obviously missed a prompt or a hint or something at some point, and spent about an hour wandering around trying to figure out what I was supposed to do, for it only to turn out that I had missed a tiny item in a room that I had got into multiple times that would open a door. And making this even further annoying is that once you've killed all the monsters, well, they don't come back. So that was really an hour of just extreme boredom, which is a slow pace that is even more jarring by the fact that the game is otherwise overall non-stop action. I essentially had to just retrace all of my steps and go into every single room over and over again until I finally figured out what I had missed, and considering that I found a bunch of the secrets while doing this, well, if I'm finding the Easter eggs before the actual thing that allows you to finish the level, then I think clearly either the Easter eggs are far too easy to find, or maybe the level is far too cryptic. And you might well interject, but Grim, Doom 1 and 2 also had some super cryptic levels that had you wandering around for hours until you tried doing something that no one in their right mind would ever try doing until they had exhausted every other possibility. And yes, you're right, they did. It sucked then, it sucks now, and I complained about it in the 90s also. But fortunately this problem was far and few between, and only one time throughout the entire game did it actually get to a point of it being frustrating. Which is actually fairly impressive because the game is rather long, clocking in at a suitably ominous 13 levels. And that super minor negative was really the only problem I had with the entire game. It's overall a fantastic game, it's extremely stable, I encountered no glitches, the game did crash to desktop once, but that was only once throughout my entire playthrough, and aside from that, it was smooth sailing. And so Doom 2016, a fast-paced action-packed demon-slaying romp through hell, complete with kick-ass music and visually awing imagery. It's not only one of the best games I've played recently, but probably one of the best games I've ever played, and so if you're looking for a game to play this Halloween, I highly suggest it, and I myself am definitely looking forward to the sequel.